Cassie Ventura, 8.5 months pregnant, voice steady but eyes brimming, spent 4 days laying bare the private horror behind the red carpet photos. When a prosecutor finally asked if Combs beat her during notorious freakoffs, she whispered yes, then added that she would hand back every dollar of the $20 million civil settlement just to reclaim her autonomy. But the freakoffs, as disturbing as they sound, were only the opening act. Ventura's testimony unfurled like a thriller. Fists in 2016, rape in 2018, and years of coercion, she says, began the moment the studio lights dimmed. Her husband, Alex Fine, was ordered out of court the instant she described that 2018 assault. The defense hinted she'd fudged the date, claiming she first said September, then August, perhaps to fit a narrative. Ventura didn't flinch. "He raped me," she repeated, even as defense lawyers circled the timeline like vultures searching for a contradiction. Cross-examination turned combative. Prosecutors accused defense counsel of stalling so long they might force a mistrial. Ventura is due any day. Judge Aaron Subramanian cut the wrangling short, reminding everyone the trial would not bow to gamesmanship. Still, the jury leaned in whenever the word freak-off surfaced, their notebooks suddenly busy. But those after-hours spectacles were never just about sex. On the night federal agents nabbed Combs at Manhattan's Park Hyatt, they entered a room that looked more like a backstage set than a presidential suite. Stacks of baby oil bottles in every closet, pink tablets later identified as ketamine and MDMA, and $9,000 in crisp cash fanned out like a boast. A Louis Vuitton pouch hid pills scripted to Frank Black, an alias, agents allege. Ventura had warned investigators that Combs kept a tourkit of lube, narcotics, and prepaid debit cards, so the party never stalled. Free-flowing substances fueled what insiders describe as marathon shows with hired male escorts, freak-offs lasting until dawn, sometimes in 3 different hotel rooms. Rumors swirled online that the baby oil had been spiked with GHB. Though no lab report has confirmed that, prosecutors have not charged Combs with drugging victims, only possession. Yet nothing enraged Combs more than a rival's shadow. Witness Dawn Richard, once Combs's protege in Danity Kane, recounted a screaming, belligerent Diddy storming downstairs over a misplaced phone, hurling a frying pan and punching Cassie on the floor. Another time, Cassie says, he dragged her for allegedly dancing too closely with Chris Brown. Combs also exploded over her brief romance with Kid Cudi. The public's fascination isn't limited to the courtroom. Google searches for vintage "Making the Band" clips have spiked 400% this week, and a puzzling climb in Lauren London plus Diddy trial queries left analysts guessing. Perhaps fans connecting stray dots after London once praised Combs's advice following Nipsey Hussle's death. No courtroom source has linked her to the case. While social media dissected every eyebrow twitch, the defense bench appeared to wobble. Legal pundits tagged the cross-examination meandering, but insiders say the deeper problem is bandwidth. Combs's team assembled in a rush after senior counsel Anthony Rico left in March, citing irreconcilable strategy splits. Judge Subramanian reprimanded lead attorney Vanessa Frost for burning hours on questions already asked, suggesting the tactics bordered on harassment of a heavily pregnant witness. Prosecutors murmured the delays were calculated. If contractions began mid-testimony, a mistrial motion would be inevitable. So far, Cassie's doctor says her stress is manageable, but late pregnancy adrenaline spikes can trigger early labor, a risk amplified by her medically supervised Suboxone regimen. And yet, behind courtroom doors, a larger cast looms. Rumors suggest prosecutors have subpoenaed security footage from at least 6 New York nightclubs, spanning 2012 to 2023, hoping to corroborate witness timelines. Neither side has confirmed the tapes exist. Headline writers leaped when The Cutwaton reported that Aubrey O'Day could testify, citing a federal subpoena. Hours later, O'Day told a podcast she was ready if called, but an Instagram Q&A cast doubt, saying, "They haven't scheduled me yet." At press time, her status remains fluid. Online gossip pages claim former Bad Boy interns signed sweeping NDAs in 2019, allegedly for 6-figure sums. No document has surfaced publicly, and defense lawyers dismiss the story as fan fiction. Take it for what it is, pure speculation. Meanwhile, the clock ticks for Cassie's baby. and the jury's memory. Medical experts briefed the court. Chronic stress can constrict blood flow to the placenta, raising preterm labor risks. Cassie is monitored daily, and Judge Subramanian has promised to recess instantly if contractions start. Prosecutors capitalized on the urgency, calling Agent Yasin Binda and Don Richard immediately after Cassie stepped down, leaving jurors to marinate all weekend on fresh images of baby oil, drugs, and violence. Defense counsel privately hope jurors will forget those details by summation, but veteran litigators say first impressions endure. Outside the courthouse, curiosity becomes a frenzy. TikTok creators slice trial clips into 30-second, "Did you see this?" bursts. The hashtag #BadRap has cleared 180 million views since Monday. ABC's companion podcast, Bad Rap, jumped into Spotify's top 10 true crime list overnight, nudging against heavyweights like Serial. Advocacy accounts repost Cassie's post-testimony statement: "The more I heal, the more I remember, and the more I will never forget," as a rallying cry for survivors. Even fan forums once devoted to Diddy's yacht parties now debate whether his brand can survive a single guilty count. The racketeering charge alone carries a possible life sentence. 1 week in, the gilded myth of hip-hop invincibility is cracking. We've seen cash-lined hotel drawers, heard tales of club night terror, and watched a pregnant survivor choose justice over millions. Combs has not yet uttered a word in open court, but his silence resonates louder than any chart-topping hook. And if a titan can fall, the question echoes across every backstage corridor in the music business: who else is hiding in plain sight?